amber on the southern shores. And there you go. This was 40 million years condensed into 4 slides. Today, though, we are going to discuss the geopolitical history of amber from the ascent of the man to the present day. So here it goes. Now, Baltic amber has a rich history. The earliest use of amber comes from the very early megalithic period, immediately after the last ice age, making amber one of the oldest used gem materials. Now, throughout much of human history until relatively modern times, amber was believed to originate in the Baltic Sea and have marine origin. This is because historically it was found on the seashore. Now, the myth originates even earlier when men worshipped the sun. As the sun set, it sunk into the sea and small pieces broke off. These eventually washed ashore as amber. It is easy to see how this myth gained credibility because amber is warm to the touch, it floats in salt water, and it has the color of the sun. Now, to trace the fascination with amber, we must start almost 5,000 years ago when men began to appreciate these gifts from Mother Earth, and they began to be worn as adornments and given as gifts to the gods. Now, on the photo, you can see a chain of amber beads discovered buried in England. The amber pieces in the previous slide were discovered very close to the Stonehenge. And the jury is still out on the actual function of Stonehenge, which was built between 2500 and 3000 BC. But as the stones are aligned to the sunset of the winter solstice and the opposing sunrise of the summer solstice, it is easy to draw the correlation that buried amber would have been an offering to the gods to ensure good harvest. These beads, found in Denmark, are dating back to approximately 3500 BC. So, over 4,000 years before the Vikings were recorded coming to England. And it is strange that two civilizations who had at this point never interacted were burying ambers in the ground, seemingly as offerings to their gods. Now, little happened with amber as far as we can tell between 2000 and 750 BC. It was traded around under Europe, and it was used as adornments for gifts and for offerings to the gods. However, in 753 BC, amber's destiny changed forever when Rome was founded by Romulus and Remus. How the desire for amber started in Rome, we do not know, but we do know that within 200 years, a trade route from Italy to the Black Sea was fully established. Still today, it is known as the Amber Road. The ancient amber trade route began at the coast of the Baltic Sea, where amber has been collected for thousands of years. And some of the earliest trade routes traveled through the Danube River, heading east to the Black Sea. And from there, the Baltic amber was shipped to a variety of destinations, including ancient Greece and Rome. Rome traded amber heavily, which inspired them to build the land route linking the Danube River to the port of Aquileia in Italy. And still today, we have traces of Amber Road, and in Poland you can find the Amber Highway, called Amber 1. Now, there were some other dramatic changes in those 200 years as well. The quality of the carving went from rudimentary to exquisite with a very little in between. These pieces that you can see on the picture, a perfume bottle, a gold collar, and a ram's head pendant, show amazing leaps in the quality of carving. Bear in mind that by now the mighty kingdoms of Europe were being formed, and it was only royalty and aristocracy who could buy jewelry. The common man lived hand to mouth, so could not afford such an extravagance. Perhaps this shift to a new wealthy clientele, together with amber's rarity, forced the quality of pieces to be better. These pieces are shown in the J.P. Getty Museum in Los Angeles, so if you ever have opportunity, go and check them out. During the ascent of the Holy Roman Empire, between 27 BC and the years after the birth of Christ, Rome fought for control of the Amber Road, and Northern Europe was undertaken. So, As a byproduct of this humble gem, we in Northern Europe gained Roman civilization, written Latin, Christianity, and the ideals of Greek democracy. The Emperor Nero is said to have stated that a single good quality amber carving the size of my thumb is worth 2 healthy slaves. Weight for weight, amber was 200 times as valuable as gold and the single most expensive commodity available on the world market. In Rome, around 100 to 200 AD, amber became very fashionable. It was worn as rings, beads, and amulets, made into drinking cups, busts, figures, and even balls, which were used in summer to cool hands. Now, whilst jewelry and ornaments of all materials were still primarily bought by and for women, amber was also coveted by men from all high-ranking professions. It was common practice for gladiators to adorn their fighting nets with amber to offer some supposed protection in the Colosseum. Now, the finest collection of historical amber pieces in the world is on permanent display in the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, and J.P. Getty has been credited with saving many pieces of Roman and Etruscan amber from obscurity. Between 1971 and 1984, Getty amassed a collection of over 1,200 important amber pieces, including 56 carvings like the tree that you can see here on the picture. Anyone saw the movie about J.P. Getty? No? No one? Oh my God, you have to see it. He was the richest person at that time, still so stingy that he was washing his own clothes in a hotel room because he didn't want to pay the maid for the laundry. So yeah, it is on Netflix, so you can see it there. Now, amber was used also as incense. This is too small for ornamental or jewelry purposes, were burned on special occasions. And this is, if you were on my previous lecture, this is also the way that you can tell if the amber is real. You can, the hot pin, you can prick the amber from the back and it should smell like pine. And this is also the quite reliable test to tell if it's real. Now, at relatively low temperatures, amber burns slowly and in the process gives off this rich, sweet pine aroma. And the burning incense was prized for its cleansing effect on the air, and it was also believed to ward off evil spirits, hence it's used in churches. Now, one of the earliest references to amber is in the Bible as a gift to the infant Christ. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh were the gifts brought by three magi. And myrrh is an ancient Hebrew word for amber, in this case as incense. Amber was also revered in the Orthodox faith. When Vladimir of Kiev united all the people of Eastern Europe into the Orthodox faith, the production of icons became a flourishing industry. The finest quality of icons were reserved for the most important patriarchs, and a few of these were adorned with amber. You can see here icons of St. George and St. Nicholas, extremely rare and very valuable considering the price of amber at that time. By 1206, the Order of the Teutonic Knights were given the monopoly of the very lucrative amber trade by Pope Innocent III. They were calling themselves the Livonian Brotherhood of the Sword. And this was the reward for the knights' endeavors during the Crusades. These knights controlled land from northern Germany and Poland to Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. And this area was, of course, the richest source of amber in the ancient world and made this order extremely wealthy and powerful. Now, Baltic amber was recognized as prestigious within the empire and was very valuable. And this was not only due to the gem's innate beauty, but also to the belief that it contains protective and healing properties. Now, here on this slide, you can see Polish wood cutting from the 14th century that shows peasants employed by the Livonian brothers fishing amber from the shallows. And you can see the watchtower on the top left, meant to guard the beach from amber thieves. And you can also see the fate of an amber thief hanging from the gallows. Trespassing on Amber Beach was a capital offense until the 18th century. And if you take a good look, the pieces of amber here look particularly large. The largest single piece of amber found was believed to weigh more than 1,200 kilos, and it was found in coastal marshland in Denmark in the 19th century. But sadly, it was cut up. It did not survive intact, but it would have been the size of a large family car. You can imagine how big were trees to produce so much resin. Yeah. Amber has always played a part in science through the ages, which is of course inevitable with the gem that is millions of years old. Now, Hippocrates, the Greek physician, wrote about different medical characteristics of amber. His works were used by scientists and doctors in the Middle Ages. Nicholas Copernicus, Prussian astronomer and mathematician, studied medicine at Krakow University and wrote his graduate thesis on Baltic amber's potent healing properties. And Martin Luther, priest and theologian, I hope I pronounced this correctly, theologian, is this correct? Kept a piece of amber in his pocket for aid with kidney stones. And Xenia here brought her amber tea. I was looking a long time for this. I heard about the amber tea and I finally found it in Klaipeda, in the Amber Museum. So if anyone is interested for more information, I'm willing to talk after in the shop. Now the thing is that with other gems, for example, we know, people believe, however, that gemstones have energy, crystals have energy, right? Now, this cannot be scientifically proven because also science doesn't believe in chakras and in that the disease is the consequence of a blocked energy. Okay, but with amber, it's different. It's the only gem that has inside actually succinic acid, which I will talk later about it, that can be scientifically proven that is has healing properties. So that's what is also fascinating about the amber. So yes, amber tea good for a number of things. I'm not sure if you can find it in Stockholm, but if you ever do this again, make sure you go and get your amber tea. Now, let's talk a little bit more about amber healing properties. Now, throughout its history, amber was ingested in various ways and used as a general cure-all. It was considered a treatment for asthma, for gout, acne, jaundice, and even impotency. It was powdered and mixed with honey for eye, ear, and nose ailments, and mixed with water for all form of stomachache. Although in England it was powdered and mixed with beer. Whatever helps. As you can see, in Northern Europe, you can still buy amber tea. And we may think as this being a pure superstition, but remember its origin as a natural antiseptic. After all, this is to heal the tree, right? So it is this succinic acid that is in amber. It's 3 to 10% of this succinic acid, which is concentrated mostly on the amber's surface, meaning when amber jewelry is worn, the body warmth activates the release of this acid and it gets absorbed by your skin. Amber jewelry is recommended to wear during or after illness to bring relief from different disorders, and amber can protect you from some health problems that you are not even aware. Now, in Northern Europe, for the last several hundred years, it has been common to give infants amber teething cream.
This is the bridge for exercise, for exercise, for exercise. Medical response team, proceed to deck 7, port side on the lifeboat 7. That's from deck, port side on the lifeboat 7.
I hope everything is okay. Now, during the Black Death plague in the 14th century, amber was considered the only guaranteed cure, and its price rose dramatically all over Europe. Since the Middle Ages, amber has been used for treating dry scalp, for strengthening hair follicles, and as an exfoliant to remove dead skin. It can be used to treat bruises and burns, and it is also used as an antiseptic and can neutralize insect bites. Adding a couple of milliliters to the bath makes the skin more elastic and can reduce the effects of the sun rays on the skin. Ladies and gentlemen, all you need is amber. Now, in many Eastern European countries today, amber can be purchased as a liquid, a tablet, or a cream, and it's used against toothache, muscle pain, arthritis, rheumatism, and menopause. Now, there is another thing. Amber is also electrostatically charged, and if rubbed against a natural cloth, it will attract light objects of cloth, hair, and paper. And the ancient Greeks and Romans named amber electron, from where we get the word electricity, and amber amulets have been worn for thousands of years to combat rheumatism and arthritis, precisely because of this electrostatical charge. The thing is, I talked in the first lecture more about imitations or fake ambers, or even young amber or copal, which are small pieces of amber that are melted and then put again together. These pieces are going to be cheaper, but they don't have these properties anymore. They are not electrostatically charged, and they don't smell as pine trees. Okay, so that's why it's important that the amber is genuine. So always, when shopping for amber, ask for certification, preferably from Amber Association, because that one is independent, while other in-house certificates might be or might be not, reliable. Back to our time machine. By the 18th century, amber had become the gem of choice for bourgeois farmers throughout Central and Eastern Europe to show their wealth and social standing. The fashion was to wear the largest beads possible. The larger the bead, the greater the status. And the situation reached ridiculous proportions towards the middle of the 19th century, with farmers' wives wearing necklaces with individual beads as large as golf balls. Yeah, whatever shows, the status. Now, amber popularity was picked more recently by film Jurassic Park in 1993. You all saw it? Yes. Now they have a new one coming, right? Yes. The premise of the film was that within a piece of amber, they found a trapped mosquito. And within the mosquito's blood, they found the preserved DNA strings of these long extinct dinosaurs and opened the fun theme park that we all know. I was checking a bit about this DNA because they do find, of course, many things in amber and many genetic material, but apparently this dinosaur DNA during such a long time falls, I'm using no simple words, not the scientific terms, but kind of falls apart so much that it's not possible to, let's say, make a dinosaur out of that DNA. So I don't think this is going to be possible in the future. Now, but the timing of the film was very good for the price and popularity of amber. Since the fall of communism and the opening up of the Eastern Bloc, amber has been through something of a renaissance, and it remains the only true intrinsic gem of the region. Now, Hollywood, yes, fiction, not exactly. And to date, more than 500 extinct insect species and over 2,000 varieties of fauna had been found in Baltic amber. However, until now, no dinosaur DNA just yet. Like I said, it falls too much apart. It's not going to be possible to have in zoo a dinosaur. Now, amber value today is at 100-year high, and it's rising sharply due to the newfound market in Asia. Because Chinese and Taiwanese travelers are paying premiums for large pieces, which can be carved into Buddhas and other religious symbols in the same way that jade has been carved for thousands of years. And since 2010, the price of amber has doubled. Maybe we will see soon the day when amber will be more expensive than gold. Only time will tell. Now, in the last 20 years, almost all of the large pieces of amber found in Baltic have ended up in the Far East. The explosion of wealth in China has fueled this, and the lack of quality jade, which was traditionally used by Chinese to carve these Buddhas and other religious objects. Now, the Chinese carvings on bone and jade have always been stunning, but these examples take amber carving to another level of quality. As you can see, it's beautiful. On my previous cruise, I was in Copenhagen going around, and I saw a beautiful amber shop. and there was like, you know, a room a bit aside that is for, let's say, VIP guests. And there was a Chinese lady on the phone, on a video call with somebody from China, shouting in Chinese, ah, blah, 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 and they were choosing pieces of amber, but they were big pieces. So it is happening, you know. They are good buyers of amber. I would like to finish with two of most famous amber constructions in the world. The first one is the Church of St. Bridget in the center of Gdansk in Poland. The original church was built around 1394 after the remains of St. Bridget were temporarily laid to rest on this spot in 1374 as her body was being transported from Rome to Sweden. Now, St. Bridget is one of the 6 patron saints of Europe and it's Sweden's most venerated saint. The church was completely demolished during World War II and rebuilt to its original design in 1973. But the outside of the church gives little clue to the amazing altar inside. The altar weighs more than 2.5 tons and measures 36 feet times 20 feet and commemorates several specific historical events. Firstly, it's a tribute to St. Bridget itself. Secondly, it represents the divine providence in the papacy of Pope John Paul II, the first and only Polish pope in history. And thirdly, it commemorates the sanctuary the church gave to the leaders of the Workers' Party Solidarity in 1981, when martial law was enforced to stop the anti-communist uprising, which started in the shipyards of Gdansk and Gdynia, led by Lech Wałęsa, who went on to be Poland's first elected prime minister since 1926. Now, the altar features a central amber sculpture of the Blessed Virgin Mary, protector of workers. She was inspired by the unrest in the Lenin shipyards in 1970, some 10 years before the Solidarity protest, which led to democracy in Poland. In 1970, what happened is the shipyard workers demonstrated against price rises, and the communist authorities, scared of workers' revolt, sent in armed militia units who opened fire without warning, and 18 protesters were killed. To the left is St. Bridget of Sweden, and to the right is St. Elizabeth Hazelblad, a member of the Order of St. Bridget. Now, Elizabeth is recognized for her efforts in saving the lives of many Jews during World War II, and she was canonized by Pope Francis in 2015. Now, also on the altar, but not visible to the public, is an amber monstrance, a vessel for housing an item of religious significance. And in this case, it contains the heart and blood of Pope John Paul II and the heart of Father Jerzy Popieluszko, a Solidarity supporting priest who was murdered by the communist authorities in 1986. This altar is the biggest structure of amber in the world, and it is much bigger and 3 times higher than the famous amber room. Anyone saw it? No? Nobody? Okay. Of course, the amber room, the most famous amber construction in the world. How many of you saw that one?
Yeah, in Russia.
This is in St. Petersburg, yes? Yeah. Okay, unfortunately on this itinerary now we are not able to go there, which is, I think, very unfortunate. But you can see it here on the picture. So it was the dream of Queen Sophie Charlotte of Prussia, young wife of Frederick I, who commissioned the room in the 1701. Now, the room was meant to be a centerpiece in her new Baroque palace outside Berlin in the town now known as Charlottenburg. The construction proved to be extremely expensive and very time-consuming. From 1701 to 1706, Russia's budget for its entire military was less than Sophie Charlotte was spending on the amber room. Yes, Sophie Charlotte did not see the room finished. She died of pneumonia in 1705, aged just 36. Her husband, Friedrich, continued the construction in her memory, but he too did not see it completed because he died in 1713, aged 70. However, his son, King Friedrich William I, had none of his father's sentimentality, and rather than admit defeat due to lack of funds, The room was made ready for shipment to St. Petersburg as a gift to Peter I of Russia in 1716. Peter I of Russia had a room assembled in the Hermitage, his new winter palace in St. Petersburg. At that time, it measured 275 square feet. Now, Peter's daughter Elizabeth I moved the room to her new summer abode in Tsarskoye Selo, which was just outside the city. But it was eventually completed during the reign of Catherine the Great in 1770, and the completed room was now almost 600 square feet in size, with a total amber weight of 13,000 pounds or 5,900 kilos. Now, here is where the amber room stayed for over 180 years. We could say that it's a jewelry box fit for tsars, until the fateful events in 1941. During World War II, the German troops were advancing on Leningrad, which is now St. Petersburg, and although they did not manage to take the city itself, they were able to overrun Tsarskoye Selo. First, when soldiers entered the palace, they missed the room because workers tried to hide it by putting wallpapers over the panels. But of course, once it was discovered, the German troops dismantled the panels, they packed them up in 27 crates, and shipped them for safekeeping to Königsberg in Germany, which is now Kaliningrad. Now, in January 1945, after an air and ground assault on Königsberg, the room's whereabouts were lost. Official records showed the 27 crates were stored in Königsberg Palace, but this was destroyed during the air raid, and supposedly the amber room burned. Some say that the crates were moved just before the air raid, and several eyewitnesses claim to have seen the crates loaded onto the battleship William Gustloff, which was torpedoed off Poland in 1945. However, despite exhaustive inquiries by the Russian KGB and East German Stasi, in 1970 the amber room was officially declared missing. It remains to this day the most expensive work of art ever lost, with an estimated modern day value between 600 million to 1 billion US dollars. There have been recent stories of original rooms' whereabouts, from underground bunkers in Poland to a Nazi train full of buried gold,